Hello world history students. I am making this video for you because I'm not going to be in class Thursday or Friday of this week. I am traveling to San Antonio to visit family as well as to participate in a poetry reading of some of my work that was published in an anthology for Latin American women writers. I wanted to help you all do the work of reading the primary sources from Cortes, Montezuma, from La Malinche, and from a historian. The historian's name is Matthew Riestall. You have 3 documents with 3 different points of view. Consider this work a continuation of the CAP analyses that we've been doing on primary sources. You really need to build these skills of learning point of view because depending where you are in history, you have a different story to tell. We also need to be keenly aware of the bias that is present in a lot of primary sources. The dominant narrative, those who win, those who come from Europe basically get to tell the stories the way they want to tell the stories, and that has to change. We have to honor and affirm these multiple viewpoints in order to have a more complete and beautifully complex understanding of historical events. So the first document is Cortes's account. It's a letter Cortes wrote to King Charles V. Pay particular attention, I'm reading my notes here, pay particular attention to the speech that Montezuma is giving in that document, as well as all the documents. So Cortes writes this letter to the king, and remember that Cortes has his own motives for writing the letter and for what he wants to do. He wants to take control and have a position of supreme power within the Americas. He's driven by wealth, and he's driven by political power that he can possess in the Americas. So think about those things. Document B is from the Florentine Codex. The Florentine Codex was written by Mexican natives under the supervision of Spanish friar Bernardino de Sahagún. This Spanish friar was Catholic, and so his primary goal is to convert the indigenous people to Christianity. Also, really important to note is that the Florentine Codex was written several years after the conquest, the invasion of Tenochtitlan. So pay particular attention to that, the natives narrating the account may not have even been alive when Cortes came and when Montezuma was the emperor. Also know that the friar is very motivated by converting these indigenous people to Christianity and Catholicism. So how is that bias going to play into how he interprets and writes this primary source? Lastly, document C is written by historian Matthew Riestall in a book titled 7 Myths of the Spanish Conquest. And so what this historian is doing is trying to give us a truthful account, an account that is exposing the biases that exist within documents A and B, one written by Montezuma and one written by Mexican natives, but filtered heavily through a friar. So read those documents as closely as you can. There is also a paper to annotate. So write detailed notes, work together. Do not get distracted by computers or online shopping, whatever it is that you do that becomes a major distraction when we're trying to study these important pieces of history. There was something else I wanted to tell you. Oh, yes. So, Friday, which is an A day, you all will be assigned a point of view skills assessment. Start work on that. I do not expect you to complete it. I will put a due date for it sometime next week so that when I'm back, we can go over lots of these points together and you can understand more fully, not just from reading, but from things that I tell you, what needs to be done. But the point of view skills assessment is asking you to consider 3 different points of view during this encounter of Europeans with Western Hemisphere peoples. Hey, look at this girl in the back, you guys. Okay, talking about getting distracted, look at me getting distracted. So you would pick La Malinche. What would her point of view be from reading this? Or pick Cortez. What is his point of view? What is he motivated by when writing this letter, for example? And you only have to pick an excerpt of that longer primary source. You don't have to pick the whole thing, but pick one that has some meat to it, something that you can really unpack and analyze. So start that work on Friday. You should have a little bit of it done so that when I come back, we just have to finish it. We don't have to spend an entire class period working on it. And then we will begin our study of the Incan Empire a little bit too. Bye, everyone. I miss you, and I wish you luck as you start these assignments.